So coming to a comfortable seated position, the spine is nice and tall. And send the crown of the head upwards. Shoulder blades down and back. The chest, the heart space is nice and open. You're aware of the parts of your body which now have firm contact with the floor. Your feet, your legs, your buttocks, your sitting bones. Firmly grounded, and at the same time you're growing tall, you're reaching upwards towards the light. And then inhaling deeply for Om. Sato ma satgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityo ma mritam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Peace Peace Peace. Om Namah Shivaya. Once again, a very warm welcome to our class today. Namaste. My name is Kaivalya. I'm staff here at Yoga Vidya in Bad Meinberg. And I look forward to our practice today. Just a very few words about Yin-Yoga, just in case you're not yet that familiar with the Yin-Yoga practice. It's basically a slow practice, a meditative practice. We do hold the asanas a little longer in most cases. It's more the kind of passive yoga. So it's a very nice way to complement your usual Hatha yoga practice, which is, at least if you're practicing the Yoga Vidya style, quite young. Okay, so this time we'll be focusing on the kind of softness, the kind of female energy. Okay, so we'll also use slightly different names for the asanas, so don't be surprised about that. But at the same time, you'll notice that there's a lot of overlap. Yeah, we'll have a forward bend, we'll have an inversion, etc., etc. Okay, and basically what is the aim of our Yin-Yoga practice? We want to work with the fascia, with the connective tissues. So that's the fascia, the tendons, and the ligaments. We want to really get to those deeper tissues. And we don't, that's one reason actually why we don't have a warm-up in the traditional way. That's also then an invitation for you to not really go full into the whole stretch, not 100%. Don't push yourself. It's not a kind of pushing yourself practice, but instead perhaps aim for about 70% and see what kind of unfolds, right? Okay, so this morning, or today, if you're joining us online later, we'll be practicing Yin-Yoga a la Yoga Vidya. So we'll basically have a rough Yoga Vidya sequence in a sort of Yin-Yoga way. So we'll start with an inversion, then a forward bend, a backward bend, and a twist. Okay. I invite you to have your props handy. So if you have a bolster, or cushions, firm cushions, please have those handy at any point. Yeah, so yeah, it's best to have those next to your mat now. So if you haven't got those yet, please get some foam cushions, perhaps also a blanket, and if you have a bolster. Okay, so just one note about after the practice. As mentioned already, we'll be working with some deeper layers on a physical level. That's our fascia, our connective tissue, but also perhaps you'll notice some emotions. And after the practice in particular, it's highly recommended that you drink lots, because it's a kind of detox practice, okay? So you may notice that on a physical level or on an emotional, on a mental level. Okay, so drinking lots. Yeah, I can highly recommend that. All right, okay. So basically, we're going to make a start now. And we're not going to start with the typical Yoga Vidya pranayama, but instead we'll do a little breath work at the same time, combining that with a little movement. So we'll do the Sufi grind. I'll show you in a moment. For that, get into a comfortable, perhaps cross-legged seat if that's possible for you, using support if you need to. So finding a comfortable seated pose. And basically, you can place your hands on your thighs, and with the Sufi grind, you'll inhale as you move forward, really exploring the full range of the movement, and exhaling, you bend backwards, making a really round back, and inhaling back forward. So it's a circular, slow movement. And really, I invite you to explore the full range of the movement. And at the same time, really breathing deeply, and you have the full awareness on the movement and the breath. Inhaling, opening the chest, pushing the breastbone slightly forward. Exhaling, round back. Okay, exploring the area, the hips, the groin. Very well done. Complete focus here on the breath and the movement. And doing one more round in this direction, and after that you'll change direction. Perhaps noticing if there's a difference when you're turning the other way. Curiously exploring the range of movement. Also watching the flow of the breath. How is that today? And how is that being affected in this practice with this movement? Last couple of rounds now. And then slowly coming to an end. Just sitting quietly for a moment. Bringing the awareness inwards. Perhaps towards the hip, the groin area. Or just watching the breath, that steady coming and going of the breath. especially in our Yin-Yoga practice, you'll be bringing the awareness inwards, curiously observing what's going on a physical and on a mental, emotional level. You can gently open your eyes again. And I'd like to start with one, as I said, we're not going to do a warm-up as such. I'll just gently invite you to bring your awareness to the fascia, and one of the fascia, they are kind of all connected, but one of the fascias, which is quite important, is the one starting in our foot. And this is also one which we tend to neglect a little. So you can come to sit on your heels and then tuck your toes under and gently, gently sit back. Now this might be quite intense and too intense for some. And that way you can also place your hands in front of you so that you take off some of the weight if you find that too much of a stretch. But if possible, you can gently sit back and sit on your heels, and you'll probably notice a bit of a stretch in your feet. There may also be a comfortable or not so comfortable pain, so you decide if that's still okay for you, or otherwise, as I said, please feel free to take off some of the pressure by placing your hands in front of you in the mat. Just breathing towards the feet here. Be aware that fascia starting at the feet, then going all the way up. Now, if you're sitting back, and if that's comfortable for you, you can do the Garuda arms. So, as you would in Garudasana, you bring one arm on top of the other, wrap those around each other and place the palms together or nearly together. That also then introduces a nice little stretch at the shoulder girdle. So you can try and work with the height of your elbows here, either higher or lower. Just see where you have a bit of a nice stretch here. Maybe 2-3 more breaths here on this side. And if you are working with the arms, now swap over to the other side. Breathing towards the foot fascia and the shoulder girdle. Perhaps you'll notice it's getting quite intense now. So of course, at any point, you can always come out of a pose. If it's still a relatively comfortable pain, perhaps 2 more breaths here. And then exhale, releasing the arms, placing the hands in front of you, taking the weight forward, and then releasing your toes, your feet, sitting back for a moment on your heels if that's possible. Otherwise, feel free to stretch out your legs in front of you. Just taking a couple of breaths here. And then we shall start with our Yin sequence a la Yoga Vidya. So we'll start with an inversion. I show you. You'll basically be familiar with this and know it probably as a supported shoulder stand or Viparita Karni. So in Yin Yoga we call this seagrass. So you can place your feet on the mat, lift your hips up and place a firm cushion underneath your sacrum. Just playing around there, just see that it sits there very nicely. before you then take one leg up into the air and then the other, coming into the seagrass position, otherwise known as supported shoulder stand. The arms are to the left and right of the body, palms facing up. Just take those first few breaths, perhaps the first minute, to really arrive in the pose. Perhaps you think that you may wish to adjust your cushion a little bit. Just see what's necessary for your body to come into a comfortable pose here. And then become aware the legs, they're kind of floating upwards. And you may notice there is a kind of point where the legs are floating upwards, which with hardly any effort at all. So try and find that point where the legs are being lifted up effortlessly. And you'll remain in this pose for a couple more minutes. Initially, just bringing the awareness to that physical level, scanning the body from the toes to the crown of the head. Asking yourself whether you're holding on to body parts which you no longer need to hold on to. That may be your jaws or your tongue. Are the shoulders all soft, and the fingers and hands, try and place them on the mat in such a way that they're all heavy and soft. And if you find that your mind is starting to wander around or telling you stories, guide it lovingly and patiently back to the breath. Perhaps holding the awareness at the nostrils, noticing the cool air flooding in, the slightly warmer air leaving the nostrils again. Sometimes this pose is also called candle pose. And I'd like to share with you a poem by Swami Shivananda, which has the title, Give Me Light. So I thought that might be quite fitting for this position. Give me light. Thou art wisdom, give me wisdom. Thou art immortality, give me immortality. Thou art eternal bliss, give me eternal bliss. Thou art everlasting peace, give me everlasting peace. Thou art the light of lights, give me light. We're just going to hold the pose for one more minute. Try and stay fully present within your body. And gently, gently, initially mentally prepare yourself to come out of the pose before you then physically come out of the pose, bending one knee and then the other, placing both feet on the mat again, lifting the hips up and taking the pillow, the cushion out from underneath the body. And for the rebound, you can come into a comfortable shavasana, so stretching the legs out or keeping them bent in case this feels more comfortable for your lower back, coming into a relaxing pose to allow the body to settle after this inversion. The inversion very rejuvenating, at the same time harmonizing and restorative. Also during the rebound, try and stay within that body with that curious alertness, like a child just curiously exploring the body from the inside out. What's going on there in this physical frame right now? Or equally, what's going on a mental, emotional level? Just notice what's ever there. Just watch, like witness. And gently bending one knee and then the other, hugging the knees in. Perhaps gently rocking from side to side. You can either roll to one side and then sit up, or rock up using one knee. I'll just then show you how to prepare for a passive fish. So if you have a bolster, you can use your bolster. I find that quite handy. Equally, you can take 2 or 3 cushions and place them alongside each other. So, and those should be relatively firm. So either a bolster or 2 or 3 cushions. You may also wish to take a small folded blanket or a softer, smaller cushion to place at the end of your bolster if you are using a bolster. And then you'll sit with your sitting bones close but not touching the cushion entirely. And you'll gently, gently place your body to come to lie on your support. You may also wish to take another pillow or folded blanket to support your head. Now you decide. Some people find it comfortable to lie back like this. Others find it much more comfortable to support your head. So you decide. Okay? You'll just stretch your legs out and come to a comfortable position here. You may wish to lift up your hips and tuck your tailbone under, so you're bringing length into the lower back. So the lower back needs to be all comfortable here, okay? Not too much compression in this area. So make sure that you, once again, you use the first few moments, for perhaps the first minute, to really make sure that this physical body can relax in this supported, in this passive fish. The hands, the arms are just completely relaxed on the mat. The shoulders are soft. And of course, what you'll notice is that the whole chest area, the whole heart space is nicely being opened up. So, bringing your awareness, guiding your awareness through the body in that first minute or so, noticing whether you need any more adjustments or whether you can let your body melt into this asana. And then you'll come to stillness, at least on a physical level. And if you notice that on a mental level there is no stillness at all, you may find that helpful to guide the awareness once again to the breath, watching that steady flow, that steady coming and going of the breath. Cool air flooding in through the nostrils, slightly warmer air leaving the nostrils again. Or if it works for you, you can visualize how you're breathing in and out of the heart space. So the center of your chest, the seat of your spiritual heart, just now nicely being opened up. Perhaps visualizing a light there, inhaling and exhaling from the heart space as you hold this asana for a couple more minutes. And once again, I'd like to share an inspiration from Swami Shivananda with you from the book Samadhi Yoga. The joy of living. The joy of living is the joy of serving. The joy of living is the joy of loving. The joy of living is the joy of sharing. The joy of living is the joy of giving. You'll hold the asana for 1 more minute in silence. Now very mindfully come out of the asana by rolling gently to one side and then releasing the props from underneath the body and rolling into a shavasana. So try and use as little effort and movement as you come into the rebound, into shavasana. After this quite intense opening of the heart space, the chest area, and come to lie on your back, completely letting go the body again. With the exhalation, let the body melt into the mat. Perhaps again a curious exploration of the body and the target area, in this case the whole chest, the heart space. At least with a regular practice we'll be able to really open that area, not just on a physical level, but also open ourselves from the heart space to more joy, love, both giving and receiving it. And then slowly bend one knee, placing the foot on the mat, and then the other. Perhaps lifting the hips up and just bringing some length into the lower spine. So I'd like to work a little bit with the hips now, and you can, for the eye of needle pose, you can place the right foot, or rather the right ankle, on top of the left knee, and then you'll bend your left leg, and depending where you can reach, whether that's underneath the knee or all the way round the leg towards the shin, you'll gently guide that left leg towards the body so that you'll notice a stretch, the back of the leg and the buttocks, the right buttocks. So the right ankle on top of the left knee, and you're gently guiding that left leg towards the body. Now, if you find that you cannot relax your head fully, do use your props, yeah? So if your head is up here, make sure that you support your head nicely with a cushion. Okay, once again, really make sure that you arrive in this asana and you'll support your body in such a way that you can hold the asana in a passive way as much as possible. Also, if you find that you're drifting towards the right side, perhaps you wish to just put a cushion against that outside of the right buttocks so that you stay upright. Really check for yourself, yeah, this is part of your practice, that you look after your physical body. And you're breathing towards the target area, the buttocks, or the right buttock rather, back of the right leg. Breathing also perhaps into whole hip and groin area. Yeah, we're holding a lot of stuff there. It's the kind of storage in our body of all the experiences and emotions which we haven't yet been able to digest fully. So breathing into that whole area, into the stretch, without overdoing the stretch. You remind yourself that you're not here to really go fully into the stretch, but it's a loving, gentle stretching. And also watch for yourself, are your hands and arms, and especially the shoulders, are they as relaxed as possible? Although you are, of course, holding on to the leg, you can relax the shoulders, let them become soft, as well as the jaws and the tongue, smoothing out the forehead every time. Couple more breaths here on this side. Complete awareness in the body, on the breath. And then with one of the next exhalations, releasing the pose, placing the left foot on the mat again, releasing the right foot, also placing that back on the mat, and taking the feet a little further apart and let the knees join, them touch each other so that you can relax a moment here. Perhaps noticing the difference between the right and the left-hand side, as we've only yet practiced one side. Perhaps you feel a little lopsided and you feel the urge to practice the other side, practice on the other side. So let's do that. So you'll place the other foot, the left foot on the right knee, hugging the right leg into the body. And once again, hold on, either grabbing the thigh, the back of the thigh, or if you can, the shin, and gently guiding that leg towards the body, feeling the stretch in the left buttock in particular, supporting yourself if you feel that the body needs some cushions to be able to settle in this asana. Adjusting the body if you need to, before you then come to stillness. And once again, perhaps breathing towards that kind of hip and groin area, or breathing into that stretch. And perhaps you wish to work with a visualization, inhaling bright white light towards that area, and exhaling, there's grey light leaving the body. So using the breath, the visualization, to kind of let go, to kind of detox that area. If after some time you feel that there's so much softness now that you wish to guide the leg, the knee a little closer to the body, please do so, but do that in a very loving, very gentle sort of way. Couple of last breaths here on this side. And with one of your next exhalations, placing the right foot on the mat, releasing the left foot, also placing that back onto the mat, taking the feet a little further apart, let the knees meet in the middle and relax a little in the semi-supine position. Relaxing on your back with the knees bent. And watch yourself, not just the body, but also the mind. Has the mind already left the mat? Has it gone elsewhere? Was it telling you little stories? Try and catch it, bring it back lovingly, patiently every time. Perhaps focusing on the breath if that's helpful for you. Try and stay in that moment and with that complete awareness. And then either roll to one side and come up that way, or rock yourself up using one knee. Come to sit up. As I said, we're working a little bit with the hips, so we can place the soles of the feet together. You may notice this is the butterfly, but rather than in the kind of yang way, really trying to force in inverted commas, force the stretch here. We'll actually do that again in a more sort of gentle and passive way. You can support depending on your flexibility, you can support your knees here. As well as preparing a support at the front here. So soles of the feet together, and you then can gently fold forward so you can really build up a kind of pile of cushions here, if you like, and you'll gently fold forward here. Yeah, so initially that pile of cushions may be quite high, and then later on you may wish to take one cushion perhaps away. So coming into a yin butterfly, and once again use those first few moments to adjust the physical body in this shape. So nicely support what needs to be supported, so that there is a stretch, there is an opening, but it's just happening very nicely, gently, naturally. And you'll probably notice that with some time, as you're holding and breathing in this asana, there'll be more and more softness unfolding. So there is this opening once again in the hip, in the groin area. And also, if you like to work with this kind of forward folding, there is also, as you may notice, after some time, more and more softness. So perhaps you wish to take away one of your supports and another as you gently fold forwards. Relax your hands, your arms on the mat in front of you or alongside the pile of cushions.
Once again, breathing towards the target area, opening the groin, the hip area, inhaling towards that region and exhaling, introducing more and more softness. So I find it helpful to really focus on the exhalation. With every exhalation, there's a letting go. There's also an acceptance of whatever is. So if you notice that there is a lot of tightness there, that there is still a holding on to which you don't seem to be able to release, just lovingly and patiently stay with that. Sending and guiding the breath towards that area. Sending lovingness, kindness towards that area of your body. And with each exhalation, you're just naturally melting into this shape. Whatever that shape looks like. Yin-Yoga is really not about the look. No yoga is about the look, but sometimes we see poses being carried out in a perfect way, but Yin-Yoga is not like that. It's just a kind of taking your shape. The body is taking a shape which is right for you in this very moment. And you stay with that moment with complete awareness on the body, on the breath, watching the mind perhaps, whatever that's up to right now. Taking 3 more breaths here. And then use your hands to walk back and slowly sitting up vertebra by vertebra. As if in slow motion, very mindfully come out of this pose, which may have been quite intense for you. And also help your knees up with using your hands, so guide them up in a very loving way. And for an active counter pose, you can place your feet on the mat a little, perhaps hip width apart, a little further perhaps than the hip width apart. For the windscreen wiper, you will turn to one side with both knees and then the other. So actually, maybe take the feet even mat width apart. And then for the active counter pose, the windscreen wiper, just taking both knees to one side and then the other, once again combining that with a breath perhaps. One last round here. And then we'll prepare for our forward bend, which is the caterpillar in our Yin Yoga practice. So
You can stretch the legs out in front of you, and once again, grabbing hold of your props. Once again, you can make this little pile of cushions here, and depending on the flexibility of your hips, you may wish to start with quite a higher pile of cushions here. Now, although this is a yin practice, we'll actually go into the pose with a bit of a yang attitude, if you like. Inhaling, as we would usually do, bringing length into the spine. You can take the arms up if you also find that helpful to create space and length in the spine as well as the hips. Exhaling then forward, so it's a yang active kind of way to come into the caterpillar. And then you can use those props and adjust them accordingly. So once again, you might find that you start off with quite a high pile of cushions. You can also place your forehead on one of the cushions, perhaps like this, and just relaxing down on your props. Of course, if you are very flexible, you may arrive already on the thighs, but make sure that you really support yourself in such a way, perhaps placing something underneath the forehead, to really be able to melt into this shape. So it's not so much a kind of working actively in Paschimottanasana as you would usually be doing in the forward bend, but it's a melting into the shape once again. So you notice the target area at the back of the legs, the hamstrings are being nicely stretched here, and the whole fascia at the back of the body we're working with here. So you hold this position again for a couple more minutes, melting into this shape, melting into your caterpillar, holding it for a couple more moments, making sure that the hands and arms are soft, so you're not grabbing hold of the toes. You're placing the hands somewhere where the hands, the fingers, the elbows and the shoulders can fully relax. So really make sure that you can place the head on top of your cushions, giving you a nice support here as you're melting into your forward bend, into the caterpillar. And once again, I'd like to share an inspiration with you. Often this forward prostrating pose is being associated with prostrating in front of the universe, in front of the divine, in front of God, the universe, the divine mother, whatever you may wish to call it. And Swami Shivananda writes, "Only God I see. In the rivers and the mountains, only God I see. In the flowers and the trees, only God I see. In the sun and the stars, only God I see. In distress and in joy, only God I see. In birds and animals, only God I see. In sound and in color, only God I see. In every atom of creation, only God I see." So you hold the pose for one more minute and silence. And then gently prepare yourself to come out of the pose. Perhaps using your hands, walking back and coming up vertebra by vertebra. Come back to seated position, very mindfully, very slowly coming out of the pose. And then for the rebound, come to lie on your abdomen. So making a pillow with your hands. Placing your forehead or your temple on that little pillow of your hands. Relaxing. Perhaps also this time taking the feet a little further apart than you would usually do. And perhaps, if it feels okay, pointing the toes outwards. See how that feels for you. And as you relax on the abdomen, guiding the awareness to the abdomen, the breath. Inhale, you notice how the abdomen is gently pressing into the mat. And with the exhalation, again, softness as a letting go with each exhalation. With each exhalation, you're melting into the mat. There's no doing here. There's just being. There's a being in the moment. And as I said, we very roughly follow the Yoga Vidya sequence. So after the inversion and the forward bend, we'll come to a backward bend now, a back bend. So you can leave the feet a little further apart, perhaps mat width apart. You bring the head and upper body up. For the swings pose, you can place the elbows underneath your shoulders. Now there is a compression here in the lower back, so perhaps adjusting the hip in such a way that you tuck your tailbone under a little. So make sure that the lower back is really comfortable here. And if you find that there is too much of a yang element here in this upper body part, you can perhaps also, it's just an invitation, you can place a cushion underneath your chest here, if you find that more comfortable, so that you can kind of melt into the Sphinx a little more in a yin kind of way. The heart space is open here. You can close your eyes, perhaps bringing the awareness towards the third eye or the crown of the head. So you visualize that you're kind of growing forwards and upwards towards the light. At the same time, there is no effort. It's a gentle sphinx, a gentle opening of the chest area and a growing forwards and upwards without much effort. As I said, also be aware of that compression in the lower back. If that's too much, you may wish to walk forward a little with your hands, taking some pressure out. If you find that you'd like to go into this a little more intensively, you can place blocks or firm cushions underneath your elbows and open the heart space in that way a little more intensively. But this is not a kind of pushing yourself. This is just if this feels really good for you. So the invitation to work with the visualization that you're breathing from the heart space here. Bright light in the chest area. Breathing in and out from the heart. This back bend, we do not use the back muscles as we would in our cobra pose. But there is that same benefit of opening that chest area, that heart space. Now some of you may wish to go for the last minute of the pose, go to the seal from here. So there you take your arms a little wider. You can also grab hold of the mat if that helps. And you'll push yourself up a little further. So that's the seal. So there is more of a yang element here. It's an actively opening yourself. But you won't hold this for too much longer. From here, if here you just do 5 or 6 more breaths here, if that feels comfortable for you. Otherwise, return to the Sphinx pose. That's the seal. Intense back bend here. Couple more breaths. And with one of your next exhalations, exhaling down in slow motion to release the pose, to come back to lie on the abdomen. Pillow with your hands for the rebound on the abdomen. If you wish, you can rock the hips from side to side, rocking them gently if there is any kind of tension in that area, the compression, the lower back. And then from here, you just roll over so that you're lying on your back. So there's no need to come up, just rolling over. Come to lie on your back here. Once again, make sure that you've got 1 or 2 cushions handy. Coming into semi-supine, so placing your feet on the mat. Now, we're going to do some Garuda legs. So you'll wrap round, you'll place the right leg on top of the left, and then you, if possible, you'll wrap that right foot all the way round, tucking it neatly round that left leg. So the right leg's on top, and you place the left foot back onto the mat. And then we'll come to a lying twist. So you're going to turn over, take both legs, which are now neatly wrapped around each other, to the left-hand side for a lying twist. And here you may find that it's useful to support that left leg, or the top right knee, depending how far you wish to move into that twist. So there's an invitation to support that if you wish to. Also, sometimes it's enjoyable or useful to also support the lower back here so that you're not rolling back out of the pose. So once again, you decide if you wish to, or how you wish to support the body as you come to lie in that twist here. It's called twisted roots. You can take the head to turn to the other side. The arms about shoulder height. Both shoulders, especially the right shoulder, should be on the mat. Otherwise, nicely support yourself here. And come to arrive in this shape. Once again, using the breath, the exhalation, you're introducing softness in the shoulders, in the jaws, the tongue, the forehead. Perhaps be aware of that spine, which is now nicely twisted, being twisted. Little massage for the vertebra, or rather the discs between the vertebra. And once again, there's that curious awareness of what's going on in the body as the body is taking this shape. There's a curiosity of whether there's any area in the body which you can let go of even further, introducing even more softness. Any kind of twist has a very nice detox benefit, so you can visualize how you're kind of wringing out the whole body like a wet cloth, squeezing out the toxins or any stuff you wish to let go of, whether that's on a physical or mental, emotional level. Squeezing out all the stuff you no longer need. Three more breaths on this side. Inhale, you return to the center and release those legs. Lifting the hips up a little, returning to the center, taking the feet wider apart, let the knees meet in the middle. Just relax in the center here for a moment in semi-supine position. And with a curious awareness, just notice how it feels after having practiced one side of this twist. And then we'll come to practice the other side. So once again, Garuda legs. So left leg on top of the right one, and you'll wrap those legs around each other, tucking the left foot behind the right leg, the shin, the calf, wrapping it around. And then come to turn with your legs to the right hand side. Again, if you wish to support the upper knee, please do so. And once again, if you find it useful to place a cushion, the lower back, to support you there, please do so. Taking the head to turn to the other side, arriving in this pose, the twisted roots. Both shoulders on the floor, both shoulder blades of firm contact, and your jaws and the tongue are soft and relaxed, as is the gaze behind the closed eyelids. As if you're looking at somebody who you deeply care about. Each exhalation, more and more softness. And find out for yourself what helps you to keep that mind in the moment. Don't let it wander off the mat. If it starts to tell you stories, you can cut those short by just guiding the awareness to the breath, perhaps noticing the flow of air at the nostrils, perhaps visualizing a light, or working even with a mantra if that's something you're familiar with. Find out for yourself what helps you to stay fully present here during your practice. Especially our Yin-Yoga practice is a curious exploration of ourselves without any kind of judgment, just loving acceptance. Three more breaths on this side. With one of your next inhalations, inhale, you come back to the center, releasing the left leg. Once again, taking the feet a little further apart, let the knees meet in the middle, perhaps lift the hips up to bring length into the lower back, and relaxing in supine position. If you wish, you can also take the arms a little higher so that they're pointing gently up. If that's something that is relaxing for you, and that way you're just creating a little space in your armpits, opening your armpits here. And then stretching out your legs, staying on the back. Here we'll come to our last asana, the famous banana asana. So we'll have a lateral stretch as we would in our normal practice with the trikonasana, the triangle. Now in this case, in a lying yin version, you'll walk both heels to the right, and you'll take the arms up and gently, and they're lying on the mat behind you, on the floor behind you, and you'll take those also to the right. So you're taking a C shape or banana shape, opening the entire left-hand side of the body. I'll just show you, I'll just stand up, you'll stay lying down, but you'll basically lie like this. You can then also take the left foot to cross the right ankle. So if you want to intensify that lateral stretch, and you can also grab hold of your left wrist with your right hand and perhaps guide you a little further into that banana shape, into that C shape. Okay? So you're really fully opening the entire left side of the body. So a nice lateral stretch here as you lie on in banana asana. And breathing into that entire left side of the body. Intercostal muscles are being nicely stretched and open. The whole chest area at the side is being opened up. We very rarely focus on the sides, on the lateral stretch here, but this is a nice way to really open up the sides of the body. Three more breaths on this side, breathing into the left-hand side. And then coming back to the center very slowly with both legs and arms. Taking a couple of breaths in the neutral position in the middle. And then once again coming into that C shape, into that banana shape, walking with both heels to the left-hand side, opening the right-hand side of the body, crossing the feet, you're taking the right foot on top of the left ankle. And if you like, you can use that left arm to guide the right arm a little further into that shape. Both shoulders, both shoulder blades are relaxed on the floor and both arms are melting into the mat. And you're guiding the breath into that lateral stretch, into that nice opening of the entire right-hand side of the body. 3 more breaths here with complete awareness. And then releasing the pose as you gently guide both legs and arms to the center. And prepare yourself for the final relaxation. Either traditional shavasana, so lying on your back with your heels mat width apart, or if you enjoy the arms a little, taking those a little further higher up, you can also take those upwards, relax them on the mat in such a way that you find comfortable, opening the armpits in that way. Just finding your position now, shavasana, final relaxation. Any cushions, any blankets, anything you need to support the physical body. And then once again, use the breath to fully arrive in this shape, in this asana, in shavasana. The exhalation, there's a letting go. Every exhalation, there's a melting into the mat. Allow the physical body to settle. Double checking that right now the jaws and the tongue are relaxed, the forehead is smooth, the gaze behind the closed eyelids very soft and loving. And then guiding your awareness through the body, you're starting at the soles of your feet, bringing your awareness to the soles of your feet. And from there, you can visualize that there is a light, a warm light, or perhaps the sensation of warmth which is traveling upwards, filling both feet to the ankle joints. And that sensation of warmth, that light, that sensation of relaxation is traveling upwards, filling the lower legs to the knee joints. And traveling up a little further to fill the upper legs all the way to the hip joints. Both legs now filled with warmth, with light, with a sensation perhaps of heaviness, with a sensation of relaxation. And that's continued to move upwards, filling the lower torso, filling the abdomen to the navel, continuing upwards to fill the chest, all the way to the shoulders. And then you bring your awareness to your fingertips. And from there, that sensation of warmth, of relaxation, that light is traveling upwards, filling both hands to the wrists. Traveling further up, filling the lower arms to the elbow joints, filling the upper arms all the way to the shoulder joints. Traveling up the shoulders, the neck, filling the head all the way to the crown of your head. The whole head being filled with that light, the sensation of warmth, the sensation of relaxation. The entire body being filled with that warmth, that light, that sensation of relaxation. Enjoying that state of relaxation and that state of simple being. And Swami Shivananda writes, I am the sunshine. I am the rain. I am the flower. I am the blade of grass. I am the river. I am the hill. I am the darkness. I am the light. I am the ocean. I am the all. I am all in all. Allow yourself to enjoy that simple state of being, that state of relaxation for a few moments in silence. Gently guide your awareness back to the physical body. Take a few deep breaths all the way to the abdomen, into the abdomen. Centering yourself in that way, connecting with both body and breath. And then gently start with a few small movements, wiggling fingers and toes, feet, hands, arms, legs. And turning to one side, and take a few moments here. Become aware of the ground beneath you. Feel how you support it like that. And when you're ready, gently come up to a seated position for closing Om. Closing our practice for today. Coming to a stable, comfortable, upright, seated position, both firm and comfortable. Chest open, shoulder blades down and back, sending the crown of the head upwards. If you wish, you can place your hands together in front of the chest to a Namaste Mudra. At the same time, relaxing the shoulders. Taking a deep breath here all the way down to the abdomen. Inhaling deeply and exhaling completely. Inhaling for Om. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all beings be happy and free. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Peace Peace Peace. And in gratitude to our Gurudev, to our Master, Om Bolo Sadguru Shivananda Maharaj Ki Jai. And to all Masters, Om Bolo Sarva Santana Ki Jai. Thank you very much for sharing your practice today. Thank you. Hope you're well. And take good care of yourself. Drink lots. It's been quite detoxing, even if it's a very gentle practice. There's lots happening. So hope you enjoyed it. And we are open again to welcome visitors here. So if you're joining us online, please, feel free to book a seminar here again. We'll very happy to welcome visitors again. Also, we still have our online program. And of course, we're always grateful for donations to keep this whole thing going. So much love from the ashram in Bad Meinberg. Take good care. Bye. Namaste. Thank you.